Okay, so good day, doctors. So for today, we will having a rationalization on our ninth quiz from the sections of pre-hospital care, disaster management, and trauma. So without further ado, let us start. So number one, what type of ground ambulance is described as an enlarged van-type vehicle wherein there is physical access between the drivers and patient care compartments? So the keyword here is van type vehicle, okay? And there is physical access between the drivers and the patient care compartments, okay? So Tintinali specifically mentioned three types of ambulance, no? So the type 1, it is just a standard truck or a pickup chassis with a separate modular box, okay? And then type 2, this pertains to an enlarged van type vehicle. Then the type 3 is a van chassis with an integrated modular box. Okay? And then take note, in types 2 and 3, there is physical access between the driver and the patient care compartments. No? So, in order for you to easily remember it, so you have to visualize. No? So, both type 1 and type 3, there is this box, no? If you go back to the definition, no, you take note, no? Type 1 and 3, there is a box, no? There's a modular box, okay? But the difference that in type 1, the box is a separate modular box, separate, hiwalay. In comparison to the type 3, box siya, but there is physical access between the driver and the patient care compartments. Okay? So, pareha sila may box, pero yung type 1, mag-isa siya. No? Kaya nga, isolated siya. So, kaya yun yung palatandaan dyan, no? Box na isolated. So, loner, mag-isa. 1, type 1. So, in order to help you remember that, no? Separate box, mag-isa. So, 1, type 1. No? And then, yung type 2 and type 3, there is a connection between the driver and the patient dun sa likod. It's just that yung type 2 is a van type, and then yung type 3, siya yung may box. No? So, this is just to see, no? Tingnan niyo yung type 1, no? Bintana lang yan, no? Bintana lang yan, no? You can talk, you can communicate with the driver, if you're sitting on the patient side, no, in the patient compartment, pero there's no physical contact in between, no? Although in some variants of the type 1, nabubuksan yan, no? Pero more of maliit lang yung objects na pwedeng makapasok at makalabas dyan through that window, no? In contrast to your type 3, tinan nyo, pintuan yan, no? Which can be opened. So, this is another illustration. Type 1, okay, versus the type 3, no? Type 3, pwede ka talaga maglakad papunta dun sa driver. At pwede rin bumalik, no? So, there is a physical access between the driver and the patient compartment. Type 2, van. So, alam niyo naman, di ba, pag van, pag sumasakay naman siguro kayo ng van sa mga colorum, no? Or dun sa mga van na yung pampasahero, no? Yung pinagko-commutean nyo na legit. So, you can actually uh, pass through the driver compartment tsaka yung dun sa passenger compartment, no? So, yan. So, correct answer here is type 2 kasi van type. Okay? Wala namang nabanggit na box, no? Yung box, kung if there is a van type vehicle, there's physical access pero may binanggit na box carrying the patient compartment. So, type 3 yun, no? And then, there's no such thing as type 4. Next, what is the most important factor in surviving a cardiac arrest? This is a recall type of question. So, early defibrillation is the most important factor in surviving a cardiac arrest. No? Kaya it should be widely available sa mga public stations, such as yung mga airport, seaport, yung mga malls, and the like, no? So, early defibrillation is the answer. Next, what traction splint has a proximal padded end abutting the ischial tuberosity upon traction? So, the keyword here is ischial tuberosity. Dun daw sinasampa yung traction splint, no? Kasi di ba pag nagta-traction splint ka in patients with femoral neck fracture from the trauma, di ba? You have to do traction. Kailangan mong paghiwalayin. There has to be a pulling force dun sa paa mo. Okay? Para hindi mag-cause ng pain, no? Kailangan mo siyang hilahin, no? Kasi it's because the muscles, your thigh muscles, pull the distal part of your extremity. No? Ang problem doon, dahil nga may fracture, nagkakaskasan yung fractured segments kapag intact yung muscle, no? So, yun yung masakit. Kaya, you have to do a traction maneuver, no? Kailangan mayroong maghihila dun sa distal part ng lower extremity, hihilahin yon para hindi magkaskasan yung fractured segments, no? Then, magkakatalo yan kung saan sumasampa yung traction splint. Sa ischial tuberosity ba o sa symphysis pubis, no? So, take note, no? In a hair splint, no? It abuts the ischial tuberosity. Sa sagger, sa pubic symphysis. So, ang mnemonic dyan is HITS, no? HITS. Hair, ischial tuberosity. So, HIT, no? Tapos yung sagger, symphysis. Ganun lang kasimple. HITS, no? HIT, hair, ischial tuberosity, tapos yung S, puro S. Sagger, symphysis. Okay? Symphysis pubis. Tapos, pagka may pelvic fracture, no? So, if you would recall your ATLS, no? You do not do traction splint in patients with pelvic fracture, no? Contraindicated yan. Okay? So, HIT, hair, ischial tuberosity. Pag symphysis, Sager. Okay? Next, what is the largest single non-trauma diagnostic category in most helicopter EMS programs? This is a recall type of question. Correct answer is cardiac, no? So, cardiac. Okay? Pagka naka-specify dyan na non-trauma, cardiac. Okay? Pero pagka in general lang, no? Answer is trauma, no? Pag general niyan tinanong ano yung largest diagnostic category in most helicopter EMS programs, trauma ang sagot. Pero pagka non-trauma, cardiac ang sagot. Okay? So, this is just to show you the non-trauma conditions. May cardiac, medical, surgical, obstetric, neurologic, and neonatal, no? But the most common, again, is cardiac. Okay? So, next. In the incident command system structure, the physician should be focused at what role? So, this is also a recall type of question. This is just to review yung incident command system organizational chart, wherein the highest ranking official is an incident commander. And this is not necessarily a physician. Okay? And the incident commander is responsible for the global issues dun sa isang incident. Incident commander. Siya yung highest ranking officer. Then, meron siyang mga galamay. Meron siyang person for safety, for information and liaison. Okay? sila yung mga commanding staff, no? Then, yung mga nasa ilalim, you have the operations, the planning, logistics, and the finance and administration. So, there was actually a previous question, no? Which of the following does not belong to the command staff, no? So, just remember the mnemonic FLOP, no? F-L-O-P, finance and administration, logistics, operation, and planning. So, FLOP. Sila nasa ilalim, no? FLOP. Finance and administration, logistics, operations, and planning. Sila yung hindi kasama sa command staff, no? Okay? Then, naka-emphasize dito, the physician's role should be focused on direct oversight of patient care. Okay? Direct oversight of patient care. So, you just read through this na lang, ha? So, that's the correct answer. Next, what type of disaster pertains to non-natural events that are not purposefully produced? So, not natural, not purposefully produced. So, you just like take note of this table, no? Madali lang naman yan, no? So, tingnan nyo, disaster caused by naturally occurring event. Yun yung keyword mo, naturally occurring, hindi natural disaster. Pag man-made at terrorist, syempre, hindi na yung natural, di ba? Ang pinagkaiba nila, man-made is hindi sinadya, terrorist, sinadya. Okay? Then, within the hospital, internal, external to the hospital, external. Dali lang yan, no? There is a well-defined time frame, acute. Obvious naman yan. Tapos, no well-defined starting point or continuous production of casualties. So, tumatagal, no? Parang yun dun sa Ukraine, no? So, non-acute yun kasi hindi pa rin tapos. Ilang taon na. Yung pandemic before, so it was a form of non-acute disaster. Yung H1N1, tsaka yung COVID-19, no? Those are examples of non-acute, no? Continuous productions over a broad time frame. Acute, saglit lang. Okay? Lumindol, tapos na. Okay? So, correct answer is man-made. Next, what is the universal decontamination fluid? So, when you see two answers na parang halos magkaparehas pero may magkabaliktad, chances are the correct answer is one of those, no? Pero, syempre, minsan trick yun. But pag hindi nyo talaga alam, there's nothing to lose. You might as well guess sa one of those choices, no? Specifically, naka-mention dito sa Tintinali. Take note of this, no? Warm water is the universal decontamination fluid hosing a patient from head to toe or showering for 5 minutes. Maring ang itanong sa inyo, what is the duration for utilization of the universal decontamination fluid? 5 minutes, no? Hindi 10 minutes, hindi 20 minutes, hindi 30 minutes, hindi rin 1 hour. 5 minutes lang. Okay? Then, pag tinanong kayo, what is the first and very effective method of decontamination? Tanggalin yung damit. Okay? External decontamination yung tawag dyan, no? Disrobe, brush off solid dust or powders, and wash and dry the face, no? Minsan pa nga pinapamumog, no? Meron pang iba sa ibang institution, you have the air decontamination, no? So, if you rotate in your toxicology sa PGH, yan, no? Lagi nyo ma-encounter yung external decontamination, no? So, yan yun, yung disrobing and brushing of solid dust or powders. Okay? So, again, baka lang ma-encounter nyo itong mga hot zone, warm zone, cold zone, no? So, hot zone yung pinakauna, no? Yung kung saan dinadala yung mga for decontamination, no? So, you do removing of clothing, brushing of solid particles, washing and toweling of the face. So, external decontamination yan. Then, pag tinanong yung agent, yung decontamination agent, warm water. Okay? 5 minutes. So, kaya siya warm water to prevent shivering para hindi ginawin. Okay? Next, what type of blast injury is due to collateral damage from flying objects and shrapnel? So, this was a previous question. Actually, highly testable talaga yan, no? Kasi, magagamit mo siya. Take note, yung primary injury, meron siyang may tatlong klase pa yan yung primary injury. You have your spalling, shearing, and implosion, no? Pero yung tatlong yan, ang common denominator dyan sa kanya is direct effect of blast wave. Overpressure on the tissue. So, direkta sa tissue. Primary, direkta sa tissue. Spalling, isipin mo na lang bulkan, sumabog. Spalling, no? Spalling. So, causing the lung parenchyma to explode into the alveolar space like a geyser. Displacement and fragmentation of a dense medium into a less dense. So, from dense to less dense. From higher to lower density. No? So, parang sumabog nga, no? Spalling. So, shearing naman, or also known as inertia, baka lang itanong yung other name niya. Keyword dito is different tissue densities at different velocities. No? So, take note lang dyan yung mga pulmonary vessels, air spaces, ruptured pedicles. So, yan. Shearing or inertia. So, isipin mo na lang nasagasakan ng thread. No? Parang mnemonic na lang yan. No? Different tissue densities, different velocities. No? Nasagasaan ng tren, nasagasaan ng jeep, whatever. No? Ganun nyo na lang isipin. No? Iba't ibang velocity, iba't ibang tissue density. Implosion, kabaligtaran lang ng spalling. No? Less dense to higher dense. So, titingnan nyo na lang dito, air embolism, no? From the alveoli into the pulmonary vessels. So, implosion, embolism. Pwede rin naman yan, no? Para maalala nyo. Then, those are the types of primary injury, no? Direkta sa tissue. Ngayon, you have your secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. Secondary is due to collateral damage from flying objects. So, may nauna, yung, kunwari, sumabog, yung granada. So, hindi naman direktang ikaw yung nasabugan, di ba? So, nag-liberate yun ng mga shrapnel, sumabog yung granada, tapos yung shrapnel tumama sa'yo. So, secondary blast injury yun, no? So, granada. Then, tertiary, sumabog, tumalsik ka. Tumalsik ka na, lumipad ka na, bumangga ka pa. So, tertiary. Ganun lang, no? Then, quaternary, yun yung mga nire-refer sa tox, kadalasan yung mga burn, smoke inhalation, chemical agent release, no? So, ganyan. Correct answer is secondary. Next, what is the most common fatal primary blast injury? And the most common critical injury in people close to the blast center? This is a recall type of question. Pulmonary barotrauma. Okay, just remember that, no? Pero there is a trick question here na ang sagot is penetrating shrapnel. Pag ang tinanong sa'yo, most common cause of brain injury from blast injury, penetrating shrapnel. Nasabugan ng granada, tapos yung bala ng granada, pumasok sa ulo mo. So, ganyan. No? Brain injury yan. Penetrating shrapnel. Pero, yung most common fatal primary blast injury, pulmonary barotrauma. Okay? Then, na-mention lang dito sa chapter na to yung crash injury, compartment syndrome, no? more or less alam nyo naman na yan. But I wanted to emphasize that the most serious complication of crash syndrome is renal failure. Bakit? Pag nag-crash syndrome, no? So, namamatay yung mga muscle cells mo. They liberate myoglobin. Myoglobin is increase in your blood plasma. Tapos, pupunta yun sa kidneys mo. So, nephrotoxic ang myoglobin, no? Eventually causing renal failure pagka hindi mo na-hydrate, no? If you would recall chapter on rhabdomyolysis, no? Very important ang aggressive fluid resuscitation, no? So, usually, yan ay 4 cc per kilo per hour to maintain yung urine output, no? Roughly, mga ganun din, no? Then, take note that the normal compartment pressure is less than 10 millimeters mercury. Pag more than 30, yan yung delikado, no? Pag nag-persist after 4 to 6 hours. Then, take note of the 5 P's, no? You have the pain, paresthesia, passive stretch, pressure, and pulselessness. Take note of the 5 P's. The most common and consistent symptom is pain, which is diffuse and intense, exacerbated with movement, touch, or pressure, and out of proportion to the physical examination findings. In short, saksakan ng sakit talaga, no? Yung nagbigay ka na ng mga pain reliever, masakit pa rin, no? So, you consider compartment syndrome, no? So, pain, paresthesias, passive stretch, pressure, and pulselessness, no? So, there you go. Next, which of the following high-risk chemicals interfere with oxygen utilization in the mitochondria? So, this is a recall type of question. Take note of this very important table. Maraming pwedeng itanong sa table na to. As to the agents, tsaka yung kanilang mechanism, no? Simple asphyxiants displace oxygen from the air. Usually, ang treatment lang naman dyan is tanggalin mo yung causative agent, then you give oxygen support. Samples include yung mga yan, no? Yung mga hydrocarbons, no? Methane, butane, tsaka yung propane, no? So, tandaan yung mga simple asphyxiants, yan yung mga hydrocarbon, no? So, sa tox, ang daming hydrocarbon, di ba? Hydrocarbon ingestion. Yung mga bata, yung akala nila C2 yung ininom nila, pero gasolina pala, no? Nagkakaroon ng abdominal pain, minsan nag-uubo-ubo yung pasyente, no? It's because it's a simple asphyxiant, no? Then, irritant. So, they react with water in the upper respiratory tract, no? So, include yung mga ammonia, okay, sulfur dioxide, HCl, hydrochloric acid, tsaka hydrofluoric acid, no? So, take note of that. Chlorine, phosgene, mga irritant niya mga yan, no? Oxygen support din. Then, take note lang, baka itanong, anong iwa-watch out mo sa hydrofluoric acid exposure, hypocalcemia. Baka bumagsak yung calcium, serum calcium level, no? Naka-emphasize yan dito, no? So, ang binibigay dyan is calcium gluconate. Okay? Then, pagka agents that interrupt delivery of oxygen to tissues. So, oxygen transport, no? So, anything to do with your hemoglobin. So, you have the methylene chloride, nitrites, no? So, take note of that. Then, sa mitochondrial level, no? Oxygen utilization, yung electron transport chain, sa cytochrome oxidase or yung complex 4, cyanide, yung bukod taking cyanide, natandaan niyo yan. Then, HS, tsaka phosphine, sodium azide, no? Tandaan yung mga yan, no? Nerve agents, nice to know. Ito mga basican, sulfur mustard, lewisite, no? Nice to know na lang yan. But I want you to focus dun sa first four na columns, no? And then take note na lang dito sa oxygen transport kasi 'di ba ano 'yan, involve yung hemoglobin mo diyan, yung oxidation ng hemoglobin diyan. Methylene blue. Take note of the methylene blue as the treatment. Basta anything to do with methemoglobin, yung hemoglobin, yan, mga methylene, nitrites, ganyan, methylene blue, okay? Pagka oxygen at the mitochondrial level, electron transport chain, cytochrome oxidase, hydroxycobalamin or yung B12, no? Vitamin B12. Okay? Then, pasadahan nyo na lang ibang columns. Okay? So, again, utilization in the mitochondria, complex 4, cytochrome oxidase, cyanide. Okay? Butane, ano ba tong butane? This is a hydrocarbon, simple asphyxiant. Phosgene, so irritant, no? Tandaan niyo yan, no? Sulfur mustard, yan yung vesicant. Okay? What do you watch out for? Pag sulfur mustard or vesicant, bone marrow suppression. Okay? Marrow suppression, MS, SMMS. Sulfur mustard, MS, marrow suppression. Okay? So, next. What criteria looks into the presence of posterior midline cervical spine tenderness, intoxication, altered mental status, focal neurologic deficits, and or painful distracting injuries to warrant cervical spine imaging? Okay, so anong criteria daw yan, no? Lagi natin itong sinusulat sa side notes, no? Pag mga trauma patient, very important for you to know the nexus criteria, no? So, pagka merong isa dyan na hindi na-satisfy, kunwari, masakit, pinalpate mo, masakit yung likod ng batok, pa-x-ray mo na yan, or CT scan, depende, no? Then, lasing, pa-imaging mo rin yan, pa-x-ray mo, or CT scan, depende din, no? Basta you do an imaging, then altered sensorium, may focal neurologic deficit, o kaya may painful distracting injuries such as what? Yung mga fractures, long bone fractures, no? So, ganun kapangit yung ano niya, trauma, no? So, take note of the nexus mnemonic. Kaya siya nexus. N for neurodeficit. E for ethanol intoxication. X for extreme distracting injuries. U for unable to provide history kasi altered sensorium. S for spinal tenderness sa posterior cervical area. Okay? Nexus. Canadian cervical spine rule. It's a 3-step ano lang naman, no? Question. High risk ba? Dangerous mechanism ba siya? Nagmamanhid yung kamay, matanda, pa-x-ray mo. Pero hindi man, you look at the next question. Is there any low risk factor that allows safe assessment of range of motion? Kaya bang igalaw? Kunwari, simple rear end collision, or sitting position in the emergency department, or ambulatory at any time, or delayed onset of neck pain or absence of midline cervical spine tenderness, no? So, in short, na-assess mo siya ng maayos, no? Wala yung mga na-mention ko kanina, no? So, if hindi niya yun magawa, pa-x-ray mo, pa-CT scan mo. Pero pag nagagawa naman niya, last question, naigagalaw ba yung leeg, no? So, if hindi, pa-x-ray mo or pa-CT scan mo. Okay? So, take note that there are 3 criterias. ito yung tinanong sa review, yung previous review. How many criteria should be satisfied sa Canadian Cervical Spine Rule? So, 3. Okay? There should be 3 criterias. New Orleans criteria. So, this is for head trauma. Yung indication for plain cranial CT scan. No? So, take note, elderly, no? Na may head trauma, you request for plain cranial CT scan. No? So, just go through this. No? Then, yung Ottawa rules. Yung Ottawa rule, hindi lang yan sa pag-request ng plain cranial CT scan to see or to catch subarachnoid hemorrhage, no? So, meron ganun, pero meron ding for knee tsaka sa ankle. Yung Ottawa knee rules tsaka Ottawa ankle rules, no? So, yan. Take note of this. At least greater than 5 years old para magamit mo yung Ottawa knee rules. Okay? Then, importante dito is you palpate properly. Yung patella, yung fibula, no? Fibula is found dun sa lateral side nung paa, nung leg, no? And then, usually dyan, pagka merong sensation deficit, so, yung superficial peroneal nerve, di ba, nagko-course somewhere dyan sa may fibular area. If you would recall your anatomy, so, pagka may parang numbness dun sa lateral side of the leg, then, pa-x-ray mo, no? Baka may fracture, inability to flex knee to 90 degrees, yan, no? Take note, 90 degrees. Tapos, inability to transfer weight for 4 steps. Tandaan nyo, 4 steps. Okay, pa-x-ray nyo. Pag merong isa na satisfied dyan, no? Then, the Ottawa ankle rules. Okay, so you palpate for the malleolar zone, the midfoot zone. Then, you also ask the patient to walk for 4 steps. Okay, changing ano din siya, no, transferring weight din for 4 steps. Sa ankle, ganun din, no. So, may knee, may ankle, no. Then, if merong kang na-appreciate, then you request for an imaging. Okay? Ito yung minention ko kanina, ni Ottawa subarachnoid hemorrhage rule. Alam na alam nyo yan, no. So, just take note of the mnemonic. Grabe. Nawala ang pinaghirapan kong 40 pesos. So, grabe yung severe headache. Severe headache or headache that is unusual from the usual headache characteristics, no? Tapos ano pa ba? Grabe nawala. Nawala. So that corresponds to neck discomfort or neck pain. Wala, witness loss of consciousness. Wala, pinaghirapan, symptoms on exertion, umire, umubo, then sumakit yung ulo afterwards, yung mga ganon. Then 40 pesos, more than 40 years old, no? So, yun yung mga pinapa-CT scan. No? Then, yun lang naman, no? Just read through this. So, again, the correct answer here is Nexus. Next question, what is the classification of hemorrhage? So, motor vehicular crash injury with bleeding and gross deformity on the left femur. So, you expect blood loss. BP is normal, pero tachycardic. The rest are unremarkable, no? Except for the severe pain, tsaka yung tachycardia. So, I want you to take note of this very important table sa Tintinali. Tandaan nyo, pag tachycardia, it starts with class 2. It starts with class 2. The moment your patient becomes hypotensive, it starts with class 3. Then you take note, baka ang mangyari is itanong, what is the estimate blood loss in ml or in percentage in a patient presenting with tachycardia but normal BP. So, yan. Tandaan nyo yan, mga roughly 750 to 1.5, 15 to 30%, no? So, isipin mo na lang, mag-drawing ka ng 1.5 liter na Coke dito sa gitna nung class 2 at saka class 3. Mag-isip ka na lang na maglagay ka ng 1.5 Coke bottle dyan sa gitna, no? Ng 2 and 3. So, you know that the 1,500 ml corresponds to 30% blood loss, no? So, anything below that is class 2. Anything more than that is class 3. Okay? Ang magkakatalo lang sa class 4 versus class 3 is more than 2 liters na. More than 140. Okay? So, correct answer here is class 2. Next. According to the CRASH 2 trial, CRASH 2 study, mortality from trauma is reduced if tranexamic acid is given within how many hours? This is a recall type of question. Ang benefit niya if it is given within 3 hours, no? Actually, yung most benefit is within the first hour, no? Pero as you extend within 3 hours, you still have benefit pero mas less na, no? So, but still, ang common literature nila is that within 3 hours, no, may benefit of reducing mortality with tranexamic acid, no. Specifically naka-mention sa Tintinali, sa mahabang paragraph dyan, no, usually 1 gram tranexamic acid over 10 minutes, yung IV bolus, tapos tranexamic drip 1 gram to run for 8 hours, di ba? So, although sa practice, 'di ba, ang ginagawa is Tranex 500 Q8, 'di ba? Pero dito mas konti lumalabas ang ibibigay na Tranex mo. Hindi siya aabot ng 1.5, no? Kasi 'di ba pag nag 500 mg Q8 ka, which is the usual, in the span of 8 hours, in a 24 hours, makakaano ka, 1.5, no? Pero dito, in a span of 8 hours, 1 gram, no? So anyway, pag tinanong kayo sa Tintinali, you just take note na 1 gram bolus, tapos 1 gram to run for 8 hours. Ganun siya. So, mas mataas siya. Okay? Then, benefit is appreciated kapag within 3 hours yung pagbigay mo ng tranexamic. Okay? Next, the most sensitive clinical finding for placental abruption after trauma is uterine irritability, which is defined as more than at least how many uterine contractions per hour. So, take note, no? More than 3 uterine contractions per hour. Okay, and then take note na lang for pregnant women at least 20 weeks age of gestation. Basic naman yan, no? Monitoring of the vital signs of the baby, no? Tsaka it is during at this weeks of gestation na that the fundus is at the umbilicus, ba? Just recall nyo na lang yan, no? Tapos it rises roughly mga 1 centimeter for every gestation after, no? For every weeks of gestation. So, review nyo na lang yun, ha? So, next, what brain herniation syndrome presents with conjugate downward gaze, with absence of vertical eye movements and pinpoint pupils? So, this is a recall question, no? Previously asked din. Pag tinanong kayo most common, sagot dyan is uncal herniation, yung paborito nyong lahat. When you do a pupillary light reflex examination, you shine a light on one eye and then you shine the light on another eye. So, yung pathologic side would be the side of dilation. Okay? So, yung anisocoria, usually, ang nako-compromise dito is yung posterior communicating artery, as well as yung cranial nerve 3. Okay? Just to review, no? Then, central transtoreal herniation, you take note of the features, pinpoint. Actually, ito mga to, pinpoint na to down the line. Yung mga natirang 3 types. Magkakatalo yan. Central, you have the bilateral Babinski sign and increased muscle tone. So, macho. Okay, macho, matigas. Central. Okay? Tapos, cerebellotonsillar, hindi siya macho. Flaccid paralysis, no? Flaccid, malambot. Tapos, patay agad. Cerebellotonsillar. So, malambot agad, patay agad, no? Cerebellotonsillar. Then, upward transtentorial herniation. Tingnan nyo upward transtentorial, pero conjugate downward gaze. With absence of vertical eye movements. So, yan. Upward transtentorial herniation. Okay? Then, this is just to show you classifications of traumatic brain injury. Tinanong kasi to, what is the classification of traumatic brain injury na patient na pinakitaan ng mga findings, pero nako-computein mo yung GCS based dun sa findings na binigay. Then, pag na-compute mo yung GCS, dun mo na malalaman, no? Yung classification. So, kung mali yung GCS mo, mali ka na rin. Okay? So, mild, moderate, severe. Basta tandaan nyo dito, mild, GCS 14 to 15. Mild yan. Severe, yan yung mga intubatable. 8 and below. Severe, intubatable. 8 and below. Yung gitna, moderate. Ganun lang kasimple. Then, pasadaan nyo na lang din to, yung mga epidural, subdural, subarachnoid hemorrhages, no? Typically, football shape, biconvex, epidural, no? Does not cross suture lines, middle meningeal artery, minsan, natamaan ng baseball bat sa temporal area, sa terion, yan, yung mga keywords yan, terion, tapos, lucid intervals, no? Epidural. Subdural, crescent shape, sickle shape, boat shape, tapos veins yung affected, tapos gradual decrease in consciousness, subdural, no? Sa mga matatanda, mas delayed yan pero mas common. Bakit delayed ang presentation sa matatanda? Kasi meron silang cerebral atrophy, so they would have to spend more time bago mapuno or mag-increase yung intracranial pressure bago mag-present yung symptoms, no? Kaya sa matanda, after a head trauma, mas matagal mo dapat i-observe yung matanda. Okay? Then, subarachnoid, presentation yan, severe headache, minsan meron meningeal signs, Brudzinski, Kernig's, nagdi-decrease din ang sensorium niyan. If you'd recall, there is a slivers of hyperdensity insinuating around the subarachnoid spaces or the circle of Willis, yan. Subarachnoid yan, no? So, next. In a patient with an injury at the level of blank or above, should have the airway secured by endotracheal intubation. So, this is a must know. Ano bang innervation mo ano ba ang lowest innervation mo ng diaphragm? Yung sa diaphragm, phrenic nerve, no? So, take note, C5, that's the lowest level. Kaya, C5, pag nadali yung C5, okay yung C3 mo, okay yung C4, pero nadali yung C5 mo, kawawa. Delikado pa din, no? Pwede pa rin standby intubation yan, no? Take note C5, no? Yun yung lugar dun sa may sukat, di ba? C5. C5 extension. So, yan. Tandaan nyo na lang. Okay? C5 and above, endotracheal intubation. Then, sa mga PT dyan, this would just serve as your review. Pero very important when you are highly suspicious of C5 injury, you ask the patient to flex yung elbow niya. Okay? Ginagawa ni Popeye the Sailor Man, di ba? Pa-flex mo yung elbow. Pag nagawa niya yun, you also ask mo na din, can you extend the wrist, tsaka extend the elbow. Pag nagagawa naman niya yun, chances are, hindi naman intubatable yung pasyente mo. Okay? Yung green, no? Take note of that. 5, 6, 7, 8, no? So, flexors, tapos wrist extensor, elbow extensor, no? So, yan yung mga, kung nagmamadali kayo, kahit yan yung magawa nyo, importante yan. Then, sa dulo, you ask the patient to move the legs, okay? Plantar flex, yun yung pinakamabilis, no? Dulo. Yung ginagawa naman ng iba, magsisimula sa paa, galawin nyo yung paa nyo. Pag nagagalaw yung paa, chances are, magagalaw nyo yung elbows niya. Okay? In cervical spine injury. Pagka, wag nyo rin kakalimutan yung DRE, Digital Rectal Exam, although wala yun dito sa illustration. Kasi dun papasok yung assessment for your sacral nerves hanggang S5. Okay? So, pag innervation naman, sensation, so, kapain yung deltoid area, yan, no? C5 yan. Then, thumb, yung dirty finger, C7, no? Yun na itandaan nyo, no? 7, dirty finger, no? Then, nipple, T4. Umbilicus, alam nyo yan, T10. Then, pasadahan nyo na lang iba, no? Then, there are 3 major incomplete spinal cord syndromes. You have the anterior, central, and Brown-Séquard cord. If you would recall, di ba yung sa cord, yung sensation is usually sa posterior cord, no? Proprioception, if you'd recall, dorsal column. So, sa likod yon, no? So that, pag yung anterior cord yung nadali, ibig sabihin, intact yung sensation mo. Yung position and vibration, proprioception, intact. Kaya sa anterior cord syndrome, there is preservation of the proprioception and vibratory function, pero motor yung problem. Motor. Then, yung the sensation compromise is the pain and temperature. Okay? Yan lang yung tandaan nyo. Paralysis, given naman yan, mahulaan nyo yan. Pero loss of pain and temperature. So, ano yan? Anterior cord. Pag quadriparesis, more on the upper extremities, central cord yan, no? Central cord, upper extremities. Then, Brown-Séquard, tandaan nyo na lang dito, VIP, si Captain Brown. VIP, si Captain Brown. VIP, ipsilateral, proprioception, and vibratory, no? VIP, no? Vibratory, ipsilateral, proprioception, yun yung magkakasama. Tapos, VIP si Captain Brown, Captain si PT, contralateral, PT, pain and temperature, si Brown. Okay? Pag tinanong, which among the three has the worst prognosis? The anterior cord. Okay? So, C5 ang sagot. Okay? Kasi yun yung lowest innervation ng phrenic nerve. Next, the tripod fracture falls under what category of fracture? So, recall type of question yan. It falls under zygoma fractures. Other term ng tripod fracture is the zygomatico-maxillary fracture. Zygoma tsaka maxilla, no? Take note of the sutures involved. Zygomatico-frontal, zygomatico-temporal, infraorbital ring. Okay? Midfacial fractures, baka itanong, ito yung mga Lefort, no? There are 4 types. Ang alam nyo, 3, di ba? 3 yung types ng Lefort, pero sa Tintinali, specifically mentioned 4. So, pyramidal, tandaan nyo 2. Yung mas mild sa kanya, yung 1, no? Yung mas pangit, pataas, kasama yung bungo. The entire face is separated from the skull, across the orbit, Lefort 3. Tapos, involvement of the frontal bone, 4. F for 4, F for frontal. Okay? So, zygoma fractures, yung tripod fracture, yung mga Lefort under midfacials. Okay? Next, any wound deep to the blank raises concern for damage to the vital structures of the neck. So, this is the basis for the protocol na ginagawa for the workup sa mga neck trauma, no? Take note of the platysma, okay? If there's a compromise of the platysma, usually yan, medyo ano yan, hindi mo na yan pauuwiin, no? I-admit mo na yan regardless, no? If there is compromise of the platysma. Then just to review, baka lang itanong sa inyo yung zones of the neck, no? Take note na lang tong mga illustration na to para mas madali. So, tandaan yung markers dyan would be the angle of the mandible tsaka cricoid cartilage. So, anything in between the angle of the mandible tsaka the cricoid cartilage, that's the zone 2. Angle of the mandible up towards the base of the skull, that's zone 3. Then, yung cricoid cartilage down dun sa may clavicles, that is the zone 1. Take note of this illustration. Take note of the platysma. Okay? Pag nadali mo yan, so admit mo na yung pasyente. No? Hindi mo na yung pauwiin. Then, any wound deep to the platysma raises concern for damage to the vital structures of the neck. Okay? Admit yan. Okay? Next. Which of the following is a relative indication for laparotomy? This was asked multiple times sa review, and I believe it was also asked dun sa mock exam. Marami siyang criteria dyan, pero maaari siyang mahirap tandaan. Pero tingnan nyo na lang dito sa part ng penetrating column, no? Nag-iisa siyang relative indication. No? You go through all of the indications. Injury, pag penetrating naman, ayan, kadalasan, hypotensive, masakit yung tiyan, evisceration, gunshot wound, na-confirm sa CT scan. Kadalasan naman ng penetrating, absolute indication for laparotomy. Pero dito, naka-emphasize yung positive local wound exploration after stab wound. So, ibig sabihin, na-assess na to ng GS, ng general surgery. Kaya sila nang magdi-dictate kung ilalaparotomy or schedule nila. So, nagalaw na ng GS, no? Then, yung sa blunt, tandaan nyo na lang din yung relative, no? Stable yung pasyente. Stable yung pasyente. CT is, equivocal. Okay? Hindi mo malaman kung saan. So, relative yan. Relative indication lang. The rest, tingnan nyo, hypotension, may peritonitis, nag-guarding, operahan mo na yan. Abdominal wall disruption, operahan mo na yan. May pneumoperitoneum, operahan mo na yan. Unstable, operahan mo na yan. CT, talaga na-confirm mo, operahan mo na yan, no? Just take note of the relative indications, no? Yung isa, sa penetrating injury, na-assess na ng GS, nag-vocal wound exploration na sila. So, ibig sabihin yan, nakapag-ligate na sila ng structures, na-control na yung bleeding, no? Kaya, relative na lang. Tapos, dito sa kabila, stable, walang nakita sa CT. I mean, may nakita sa CT na hemoperitoneum, pero equivocal, no? So, relative yan. Okay? So, relative indication, positive local wound exploration after stab wound. Kasi nga, pag nag-local wound exploration ka na, it is presumed na nakapag-ligate ka na or na-control mo na yung bleeding. Okay? The rest, obvious naman, penetrating, unstable, na-confirm sa CT, yung source, absolute na yung iba. Okay? For the last question, what is the renal injury grading scale for a patient who sustained more than 1 centimeter renal cortex laceration with no collecting system involvement or urinary extravasation? There are 5 grades, no? Look at the extremes para hindi kayo mahirapan. Tsaka yung gitna. Ganun lang kasimple. Yung mild spectrum, tignan nyo, hematuria lang. Hematuria lang o kaya subcapsular or contusion lang, non-expanding hematoma, no laceration. Yun yung mild grade 1. The worst case, yung 5 shattered or may V vascular. Ayun o, tinan nyo. V. Shattered kidney or vascular injury to the renal pedicle or a Val's kidney. So, wasak na. 5. Then, yung pangatlo, yung gitna, more than 1 centimeter. Cortex, no? Take note of the term, cortex. Yun lang. 3 yan, no? Pag mas mild, mas worse dun sa mild, yung hematuria or subcapsular, pero less than 1 cm, so yun na yun. Perirenal, non-expanding hematoma, 2 yun. May imply mo na lang yung 2 based dun sa minemorize mo na 1, 3. Then, yung gitna ng 3 and 5, kung alam mo yung worst, shattered, vascular injury to renal pedicle, pero involvement of the medulla, 4 na yan. Tapos, collecting system with segmental renal artery or vein with hematoma, 4. Okay? So, wag nyo na lang i-memorize yung lahat. I-memorize nyo lang yung 1, yung 3, at yung 5. No? Tapos, estimate nyo na lang yung gitna nila para mabilis kayo mag-memorize. Okay? Ganun lang kasimple. Pag mag-memorize kayo ng mga grading, alamin nyo lang yung extreme, tapos yung gitna. Tapos, tansyahan nyo na lang, familiarize mo na lang yung gitna nung mga na-memorize mo. Okay? So, correct answer is 3. Okay? So, that